the same table. And this was when his pimp came in with the notebook. And I said, is this how you met me? And both of them just busted out laughing. And it was totally obvious that it was true.
Okay, so just to review for those people who are just tuning in, because on live streams, they're coming and going and coming and going. I am with model Jill Dodd, founder of the brand Roxy, author of the book, The Currency of Love. Jill Dodd and I met today through an article where we are both quoted in The Guardian out of London about one of the most powerful men in the modeling industry, Gerald Marie,
the most
elite. He was, when we were modeling, it was Perry Planning. And sadly, we both suffered sexual assault by this man in the same summer in 1980. But there's more. The modeling industry, we now know, is a glamorous form of sex trafficking. And girls, without their knowledge, are essentially being pimped out to parties or for introductions, etc. And so I was able to avoid going to Monte Carlo because another model had warned me not to do it. And I was forced, just reeling from the trauma of what had happened to me with Gerald. But Jill went and became part of a harem. Now, I heard horror stories like that girls would get down there to parties and people would put a drug in their drink and then they would take their passport away and they'd end up as a sex slave in some foreign country and they couldn't get out. And you gotta understand, this is before the internet. This is before cell phones. If I wanted
no cell phone, no tracking, nobody knew where I was.
If I wanted to call my parents from Paris, I had to go make an appointment at the post office, wait till they called my name, go to a little cabine where I had 6 minutes to tell my story, right?
Yeah.
And so this expose in The Guardian today, and if you have not read the article, please go to theguardian.com, look up the article. The headline says, Elite Model's boss was one of the most powerful men in fashion. Was he also a sexual predator? As French prosecutors investigate, 4 women tell their stories for the first time. There are a total of 9 models quoted in the article. 5 others had already told their story. And we were the newer ones to sort of come out. If there are 9 models in this article who have been raped by the same man, I promise there are 30 or there are 40.
I think there are hundreds.
This is the tip of the iceberg, like Harvey Weinstein, like Bill Cosby. This is really the last bastion of the Me Too movement. Maybe not the last, but the biggest fish to fry, because there are teenage girls today in the hands of lecherous modeling agencies. Mm-hmm. They are still being pimped out by playboys around the world. I will remind you that the American news hook to this story is that Jeffrey Epstein's pipeline to teenage girls after he exhausted all the girls at his local high school in Palm Beach was to invest in these modeling agencies. The guys we're talking about were the same guys that hung out with Epstein. And so today, as we do this live stream, I want everyone to understand this is real and it's happening today. We are full-blown, full-grown women with self-confidence who have healed from our trauma as best we can, and we can speak on behalf of victims out there. But I promise you today, there are thousands of teenage girls in agencies in Tokyo, Milan, Paris, in Brazil, or New York. And the agencies are taking kickbacks for pimping the girls out to parties or for dates. Mm-hmm. And the girls know nothing about it because the agents lie and say, you got to go to parties. You'll meet photographers. It'll be good for your career, right? So Jill, I know that this is all just breaking today and it's new news, but if you could change
because, well, I've been speaking out about it for 3 years in public because I wrote my book and I tell everything about the rape and about being trafficked in my book.
And also we should say that supermodel Carré Otis was supposed to be with us tonight. She's in Colorado, and unfortunately there's some wildfires there, and she had to evacuate with her family. But she will be on my radio show tomorrow by phone, KFI AM 640 Los Angeles. Wherever you are in the world, you can listen on the iHeartRadio app at 4 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow. And there are other women quoted in the article. Now, Carré, the reason why I brought her up is she's also been telling this story for years. Why didn't people listen to you guys?
Say that again?
Why didn't people listen to you guys?
Well, people have listened to me, but I think that, well, you know what's funny is I've been talking about it for a long time, but maybe it, it wasn't, well, there was an article in the New York Times, in Maxim, in Marie Claire. I was on 60 Minutes in Australia.
You should also say that he's got some pretty good lawyers, and he bats things down when they come up. I mean, the BBC tried to do a documentary on this a few years ago, and his lawyers just bat them down.
But the other thing is, my story, this is the difference, is with my story, the journalists were more interested in the richest man in the world and the harem than they were the agent part of it.
And I think this has to do with timing. You know, the world now, I mean, if we even go back to what happened with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, she was 19 years old. We now understand that she couldn't have given consent, and she's a victim in all of this. But even at the time, there were women, and myself included, who were saying, oh, she's sleeping her way to the top, when we didn't understand the dynamics of the power imbalance. And
the other thing that I just thought of is the Me Too movement took off about 6 months after my book came out, or maybe 4 months after. So when my book came out, I was talking about it, but it wasn't connected to the Me Too movement because it hadn't happened yet. The Harvey Weinstein thing hadn't happened yet.
I think I was one of the earliest ones with Gretchen Carlson at Fox, because I spoke out on behalf of victims at Fox News against Bill O'Reilly. So that happened in April of 2017, and then Weinstein in July, and then Bill Cosby in the fall, and then it became.
My book came out in June.
Yeah, all 2017. But I think now, you know, I also think, yes, I am on KFI, if you asked me, la, girl, Sundays 4 to 6. So I think also that this is one area that's taken a really long time to see movement in the Me Too, because we're talking about teenage girls who didn't have the power and the voice. So it means something that us as older women can reflect back on our teenage years. And I just want to say this over and over again, parents, if you try to put your teenage daughter into the modeling industry, stay with her. Go on the casting, go to the photo shoots. Do not drop her off in a foreign city and think that this modeling agent is going to care for her. Because I'm telling you, there's some glamorous sex trafficking going on all over the world. And there are so many reports that Jeffrey Epstein was specifically investing in these agencies so that he could get access. Now, you know, he could fly teenage girls to his private island, and you would say, well, why did they go? Well, because maybe there was a photo shoot that took place. They might have a photographer there too. But again, they were underage. They gave them alcohol. They gave them drugs. They sent them to parties. And anyway, bad stuff happened. So I want to say in closing, Jill, first of all, thank you for being brave. And you are also the mother of daughters as well, as I am.
I have 2 girls.
Is that one of the things that motivated you to come clean in this?
You know, I always wanted to tell this story, and I knew even in my 20s that I wanted to do it. I knew in my 30s that I was so busy working. I was a single mom, so I was so busy working, I didn't have time to write a book. And when I turned 50, I asked myself, what is it that I want to do? Because when you turn 50, you sort of see that you have not limited time, but you have a finite amount of years. And I knew that the book was something I wanted to do and had to do. And I did do it for my daughters.
Yeah,
I did it for myself because I wanted to tell the story. It was burning in me, and I had to let it out. But I wanted my daughters to know what had happened.
And I did it also for my daughters. I want to change the world so that it's safe from sexual predators for all our daughters everywhere in the world. So in wrapping up, I just want to say thank you for your bravery. And now that we're tragic sisters in this weird common cause, I hope I do get to keep in touch with you and see you on better days. There is something called the Model Alliance, of which I think Carré Otis is on the leadership council of, and they approached me today. So, and there's one in Europe that's, I think it's called Model Trust or something. It's a nonprofit designed to trying to change so we're going to get involved in organizations, and we're going to change the industry as best we can so that we can protect girls everywhere. But parents, if you're listening, do not let your babies get on planes and go to modeling agencies around the world. It's a prescription for danger. It really is. Thank you all. If you want to hear more, I'll be going into this topic in great detail tomorrow on my radio show. That is the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show on KFI AM 640 Los Angeles. And that is from 4 to 6 p.m. tomorrow Pacific time. And you're in Hawaii, so go enjoy yourself.
I know I don't have any dressy clothes to put on for this thing. I'm going
to go finish cooking dinner. It's been a pleasure to have you on my live stream, and I hope to see you again soon.
Great meeting you.
All righty. Take care. All right. Bye.